So let's get started. I'll show you first from the India Today, Access My India post-poll study, the impact of brand Modi on the consciousness of the voters across the country. So you look at two columns. On the one column, you'll have overall voters. Okay, so if 100 people voted, and that's on this side, how many people said they voted the way they did just because of Narendra Modi? And on this side you have amongst those who said they voted for NDA, to give you a relative sense of the importance in the NDA vote. So I'll start with Karnataka. 11% of overall voters in the state of Karnataka. And it's interesting that the maximum impact of brand Modi in this Lok Sabha election, according to our data, comes from the southern state of Karnataka. Then there is Himachal Pradesh, which is quite predictable. 10% said they voted the way they did because of brand Modi. Rajasthan and Maharashtra come next. Then there is Bihar at 8, Gujarat at 8, Odisha at 6, Jharkhand at 6, and Haryana at 6. Maximum impact in Karnataka. And as you come down to some of the other states, there the impact is lesser. For example, in a state like Punjab, it's much lesser. Now look amongst NDA supporters. So almost 20% of the voters who said they voted for the NDA in Karnataka said they voted solely because. This is not to do with central government performance. This is solely because of brand Modi, and that is quite phenomenal. Like 20%, 19% of the voters in Karnataka said they voted the way they did because of brand Modi. In Haryana, it's 13%. In Jharkhand, it's 11%. In Himachal Pradesh, it's 14%. In Maharashtra, it's 19%. Shankaraya, you take this 19% off in an assembly context in Maharashtra, the battle could be very different.
Absolutely. I think the data is, in my opinion, understating the effect of Modi on the ballot.
Why understating?
Because Modi has been on the ballot for 543 seats. It is the entire battle, the way the opposition has positioned this, is them versus Modi. So when you see the results coming in favor of the BJP or the NDA, it is a vote for Modi. Take the Modi name off the ballot, or he's the message, he's the messenger, he's the medium, he's the mantra, whatever you call it. And his connectivity matters. So I think in a sense that the BJP without Modi, frankly, will be a very different beast.
Of course, but Rajdeep, in states, it's almost up to 20% of voters. 1 in 5 voters who voted the NDA in a state like Karnataka saying that they did it only because of brand Modi.
And this is not new. If you look at the numbers in 2019, when, remember, in the backdrop of course, Pulwama and then Balakot, a post-poll survey by CSDS suggested 1 in every 3 voters who voted for the BJP said they voted only because of Mr. Modi. Had he not been there, they would have reconsidered their decision, and that could have altered the dynamics. So I see 2 parts to it. The strength is that Mr. Modi is a dominant figure in Indian politics of a kind I don't think that we've seen since Mrs. Indira Gandhi in her pomp. You know, he defines every seat in the country as far as the BJP is concerned. The candidate matters less. But it also means the dependence on the Modi factor. The BJP now is so heavily dependent on the Modi factor that when it comes to state elections, when it comes to elections where, let's say, there's a kate ki takkar, suddenly then the Modi factor alone is not enough to pull you up. So I think the BJP is going to have to perhaps tailor their strategy differently for state elections. They usually play the double engine card. But we saw in Karnataka, the same Karnataka that you spoke about here a year ago, with Mr. Modi putting all his weight behind the campaign, the BJP still lost in Himachal Pradesh a few months earlier. So I think it's a factor which is both the strength of the BJP, Rahul, and the weakness. Telangana, where in the Vidhan Sabha the BJP loses, Lok Sabha election, as per the Access My India survey, Mr. Modi obviously is one of the factors pulling the BJP up.
Nilanjan, your reading of the data, and do you think the dependence of the BJP on brand Modi has gone up, or do you think they've made enough of a presence on the ground that while Modi got them the initial boost, even without the Modi factor, they'll still have a stronger presence than the opposition on the ground?
You know, taking it forward from where Rajdeep left, referring to Karnataka, the Modi factor has always been a bigger factor in parliamentary elections right from 2014 onward than in various assembly elections. If we actually start plotting the assembly elections where the Modi factor has not worked, you'll find a fair amount of seats, right from Bihar in 2015 onwards, you can actually start plotting. So there is actually a very strong Modi factor. But my argument is that while Mr. Modi is actually one of the principal reasons as to why the BJP won in 2014, 19, and as the exit polls suggest now in 24, it is also due to various other factors also, which actually also prop up the brand Modi, the image Modi. One, of course, is the performance of the government. This entire social welfare, which has created a completely new electoral constituency called the Labharti, which has taken them to new areas, overcoming several prejudices about the BJP. Let us not ignore the fact that there were several prejudices, especially because of its association with the Hindu politics in southern India and also in eastern India. So definitely the fact that Mr. Modi is going there, he's being propped up also by the work which has been done by the government. Besides, we cannot also forget the role of the Sanghatan. I know that in the course of this campaign, the issue of the RSS worker has become a matter of contention.
Do you think the RSS backed this campaign fully or partially or lesser than last time or as much as last time?
I can only speak by my anecdotal evidence, which I felt, they didn't come to my house, whereas they came in 2019, they came in 2022 to seek votes. For the assembly elections of UP, I voted in UP. They came for the donation to the Ram temple in January 21, and they came to distribute Akshat in January this year. This time they didn't come to our colony.
What do you make of this?
The votes.
See, I think this question is
on the involvement of the RSS. Was it lesser this time?
I mean, I personally feel there is a Shiksha Varg also going on. So some of the leaders who tend to train the third year sort of training is currently happening. But other than that, we pick up Maharashtra, for instance. I believe that the entire Sangh Parivar, not just the RSS itself, Vish Hindu Parishad, everybody was on the ground and they were actually campaigning and working and actually ensuring that cross-voting between the alliance partners actually happened. Otherwise, BJP votes will not go to the NCP otherwise. So I think a lot of heavy lifting was also done by the BJP alongside the RSS. But I want to delve on this question around Modi factor because, seemingly this number seems on the lower side. And why I believe this seems
How
to
is
be
it on the lower side? One in five voters are saying they voted.
Because Modi factor has a spillover factor on the other options you would have asked the voter. When you go to the survey, you say ki Vikas ke liye vote kiya ki nahi. Vikas is synonymous to Modi. So perhaps, we'll have to double click on this question when you are asking a voter. He will, if you say that Vikas or Bharat ki majbuti ke liye, ya stability ke liye, ya Modi factor ke liye, all of these are synonymous and equal. So perhaps if you were to look at that, you will come out with a much more bolstered and a bigger Modi factor number than what is there.
I'm just wondering, though, Sheila Bhatt and Uday Mahurkar are there. I've always been fascinated. What has changed from the brand Modi that they knew in the 1990s in Gujarat to the brand Modi as we see it nationally today? Sheila Bhatt, did you ever anticipate that Mr. Modi would be this kind of leader who would become this national pan-India figure? When he came to Delhi in 2014, there were skeptics. Will you be able to make the transition from Gandhinagar to Delhi? Were you also skeptical? What has changed as you have seen in brand Modi in these years?
Hi, Radip. Yes, I think from 1997-98 onwards, we had quite a good idea that Modi means business and Modi thinks big and Modi has dreams, and a lot of people around him would give us such anecdotes which will really surprise us. So I'll just give you one small one, that Modi was planning election campaigning during a time of Madhavsinh Solanki, Amarsi Chaudhary were alive. And at that time, there was a triangle in Gujarat. And BJP, we never went to BJP office and we never sought their interviews or anything. But still, this anecdote was shared to me by Purushottam Rupala, minister and now Rajkot candidate. So he said that we knew that we will get hardly 10 to 12 seats. But Narendra Modi asked Rupala to get 182 raths in a Maidan in Ahmedabad. he said, "Arey Sahib, it will cost us bomb." But he said, "No, this is the way we should do the start campaign." So when he had no chance of getting seat, he asked 108, and it so happened that when these Raths came,
So 182
entire
par
media
to
came
400
there,
par.
and the next day, neither Janata Party, not that old syndicate Congress, nor Congress, BJP got the front pages. So this is how he thought, and there are many such anecdotes.
Okay, so he
I'm
knew how
saying
to
yes.
grab the headlines
From
all the time, Preeti.
No, that's the wrong way of looking at it. He had the audacity of ambition to go out and get 182. Why are you reducing it to headline management?
Because then she said that they got the headlines the next day.
But it's not
They got
just about the
headlines.
headline,
No, of
it's
course
the ambition to go out and get the 182 seats.
No, look, Narendra Modi.
No,
you know,
Radip, I tell you, it's not about headline. It is not having shyness. Shyness to think big. He was nobody. He knew BJP is not going to get any ticket, and we never went to them. I was running a magazine. Magazine needs cover stories. We never went to. We always sought Congress and old congressman and Janata Party walas.
You know, the fact is the first. No, I take your point, ma'am. The first election that Mr. Modi won big is 1987 and a municipal corporation election which is held. And this is a story that I put in my book also, but it's the story which tells me about Amit Shah was apparently responsible for ensuring maximum posters are put across Ahmedabad, and Narendra Modi was in charge of the campaign. And there is this talk, I think Uday will know about it, that Amit Shah was driving the scooter and Mr. Modi on the pillion. And I've always tried to imagine that picture all these years later, now Home Minister, now Prime Minister. Imagine through those little gullies of Relief Road in Ahmedabad, going about putting posters. That's where it started. So I think
that's where they've come from.
And that's why, and there was this famous election where they actually, in a panchayat election a few years later, who did they target? Because the Congress was dominant, the candidate who had come number 2 or 3, so that they would switch over and join the BJP. How did the BJP grow? Not necessarily organically through the BJP. They got Congress panchayat leaders who had come 2nd or 3rd in the panchayat leaders to switch over. So all these tactics that have been scaled up now started in those years.
Uday Mahurkar,
do you want to add to that? Because, while we all admit that Prime Minister Modi is now a phenomena, and I did see it, especially, the figures that Rahul just showed us, some of the states are bolstered by the woman vote as well. But while he is a phenomena, he seems to be also a weakness for his own party, because in certain states where the BJP is seemingly weaker, for example, Rajasthan, a lot of candidates were put hoping to ride the Modi wave, though they were unpopular, and they are the ones who are now being possibly, that 1 or 2 BJP, candidates on the tickets who are losing.
I'll give an overall view of how we think about this election. I think most of us got carried away by the rhetoric that we saw during the elections, but the voters were in auto mode. Take the delivery of schemes. I have written 2 books on Mr. Modi's governance, and both are not hagiographies. There's good amount of critical evaluation in both the books. For example, let's take up the housing scheme. Now, 4 crore houses have been delivered. I think the error margin would be maybe 5, 6, 7%, not more. 4 crore houses means 12 crore voters. I met a Muslim taxi wala yesterday who told me, whether he was correct or not, I don't know, but he told me that I have voted for Modi because I got a house in my village. So the delivery of schemes in this country till Mr. Modi came, when the government was claiming 100%, it hovered only around 50%. Modi has taken that delivery to 70, 80, 90%.
Okay.
Nal se jal. Almost 90% delivery, So the voters were in auto mode. We failed to identify them. Those who were beneficiaries of his schemes, which are visible on ground, they were supposed to vote for Mr. Modi. Plus, women voters, the kind of support he has got from the women, from the youth, and then national security. You can't forget this is the first election, parliamentary election after the removal of 370. People have seen the transformation in Kashmir.
Rahul, what I saw
Ram Mandir. We were downplaying Ram Mandir.
Right.
Ram Mandir also has got a role to play in
No,
this.
I'll tell you, there are a number of
He is not
factors, and what you
able to-
saw was that it was like a buffet. So somebody who's voting the BJP took their plate and they thought, okay, a bit of the one who were drawn to the Ram Mandir, it was the Ram Mandir. The Bharatis looked at Ration, then development. So it was like a buffet, and the BJP voter went about picking up what they could.
The word being used for the buffet.
I would like to add one more thing.
The word being used for the.
Rajdeep,
please go ahead. Yes,
I would like to add one more thing. You see, when he went on this Hindu-Muslim mode, warning, that was also a very well thought of move, because Congress is associated with Muslim appeasement. And he created the fear of the return of pro-Muslim politics in this country, So while many of us thought
we'll come to the negative. That could be, Uday Maurkar.